Well, boys and girls, it looks like Big Al is already here for some reason. Guess we should figure out what's going on here. Come out, old buddy. So, Big Al. Yep. It seems a little bit unusual that you're here already. What's going on? Important? Something important? Oh, you got a special message? And you're going to say it now? Sing it. You're going to sing it. Okay. And this message is for you. For me? All right, well then, let's have it.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you?
Well, that sure was nice. Oh my gosh. Boys and girls, Big Al doesn't usually say stuff like that. He's usually just kind of a little bit crabby. But I'll take that. That's very nice. And it does remind me, though, how saying the words, I love you, or hearing the words, I love you, well, that's really something. And, it seems for many younger folks in particular when they're dating, saying those words can be a bit problematic, right? I mean, saying those out loud, we realize we don't always feel it. Some people wonder if they're capable of truly loving someone. And then if by saying those words, what do they even mean, right? If by saying those words I am making a true commitment, well, what if I muster up all my courage and pour my heart out and the other person yawns? Such a vulnerable thing to do, right? I'm reminded of this young guy who finally decided he was going to tell his girlfriend that he loved her, so he musters up all of his courage and he begins his little speech he had practiced. He said, I just want you to know that I love you. And he goes, I know I'm not as wealthy as Johnny Green, and I'm not as smart as Johnny Green, and I'm not as good of an athlete as Johnny Green, but I'm a good guy and I love you. And what I want to know is, do you love me? She paused for a second. She said, I do love you. Now tell me more about this Johnny Green guy. There are those, I'm sure, who, like that young woman, might be a little bit glib and say those words too easily. It strikes me that there are plenty more who might not say those words enough. When I was growing up, at least, it didn't seem to be as common of a thing to do. And we certainly did not do that in my own family. But something changed in me in college when a woman I cared about died suddenly, and I so lamented that I never told her that I cared. And so I decided I wouldn't miss that opportunity with my own family. So I remember the first time I kind of screwed up my courage, and I just felt awkward. But I made myself say, Dad, I love you. Happily, my hair didn't burst into flames or anything. It went okay. And eventually, we did that enough so that it just became a normal thing to do, that I wouldn't even see my family, even to this day, without saying I love you and them saying it back. As an aside, it's not lost on me that there are plenty of people hearing me right now who lament and wish they had a chance to say that to someone you love who has died, young or old. And especially as Mother's Day approaches, right? If that's you, my recommendation would be go ahead and say it. Nothing can keep love, I believe, from being communicated across space and time. They might not hear the exact words, but maybe print out something, light it on fire, just find a special spot and say those words, I love you, to them. saying I love you, as underused, overused, or sometimes misused as those words can be, there's also a power in them. And so today I ask this question: what about saying I love you to God? Do you ever do that? Right? I mean, sometimes I think it's good for us to put our love of God into words. You know, seeing Jesus in action today reminded me that he realized that it can be important for us to do. Now, I'm sure that during his life, if somebody had words of affection or kindness, it meant a lot to him. But today, he has this conversation with Peter. Now, Peter had denied him 3 times, and Jesus asks Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" Not because Jesus needed to hear those words, risen from the dead. It was because he knew that Peter needed to hear himself say those words. So 3 times he denied Jesus. Now 3 times Jesus asks him, "Do you love me?" And 3 times Peter says, "I do." And each time Jesus reminds Peter that there's a responsibility, there are consequences of those words. Each time Peter says, "I love you," Jesus says, now reminds him, these words have to show up by how you live, right? If you love me, you will serve my people. If you love me, you will feed my sheep. So how about you? When's the last time you said, "I love you" to Jesus? Last time you said, "I love you" to God? And what if Jesus, the Christ, stood before you today and said, "Do you love me?" What would you say? I do think it's good to say those words sometimes. Now, of course, just as for Peter, Jesus would expect those words to show up in how we live. Each time, how we live, right, is much more important than saying it. But I would particularly want to suggest that sometimes combining those 2 things can be a gift. Like this: Jesus, because I love you, even though I'm busy, I'm going to go ahead and help out in this group that takes care of hungry people. Or Jesus, I'm going to try to be more compassionate and forgiving because I love you. Or Jesus, I'm here at church today because I love you. And parents, I do hope that your presence is one way of saying to your children that it's important to gather like this, to say to Jesus, "I love you." And it's important to do that on a regular basis. And here's why I would say that: for all of the reasons, like I know I need other people with whom to believe. 2, we need to humble ourselves before a scripture that can teach us and inspire us and comfort us. And we come to this table to be nurtured by Jesus, but also that it's just good for us to say, "I'm here because I love you, Jesus. I'm tired. It would have been easier to put my feet up and flip channels or cut grass or try to talk my teenagers to come to Mass or whatever." And even if faith feels tenuous to you right now, it's all right. Because I'm going to invite everybody, when you come forward, to maybe have some kind of "I love you" to Jesus in your hearts. And if you wonder about your faith, you could do this. "Well, God, I love you enough to at least give you this moment." Because we don't have to have our faith all together, if we ever would, to say that. And boys and girls, when you come forward, I think it's important that someplace in your heart you're saying to Jesus, "I love you," not out loud. I think it would be important for each of us, right? Saying "I love you." Important words. Just as Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" What about Jesus asking us those same words, huh? I do believe it's an important question. And I believe that today, Jesus stands before you, he stands before me, and he asks us, do you love me? And then he awaits our response.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you?